This is the next installment in my series From Bite to Burn, where I discuss the effects of GLP-1 and GIP hormones. Today we're going to talk about the effect of these incretin hormones on your gastrointestinal tract. What if I told you that these hormones are doing something far more foundational? Something that begins in your gut, but influences your immune system, your brain, and even how you age. GLP-1 and GIP could be called your gut's original biohackers. These hormones are naturally released in your intestine every time you eat. They don't just help your insulin, they help orchestrate a symphony of repair and regulation across your gut lining, your microbiome, and metabolism. So let's break down how they work. Number one, they slow down digestion on purpose. GLP-1 slows how fast food leaves your stomach. This gives your gut more time to sense, absorb, and respond to the nutrients, especially glucose. That pause isn't just about sugar control. It sends calming signals to the brain. It sends them via the vagus nerve and then stimulates specific centers in the brain that are involved with satiety or being satisfied with food, appetite control, and food chatter. It prevents nutrient overload that damages the cells. That can happen with overeating or having calorie-dense foods that are high in sugar. It reduces inflammation stress on the gut wall that can happen from those high-calorie, highly inflammatory foods. Number two, they rewire what fuels your gut cells. When GLP-1 reduces the post-meal glucose surges, your gut cells begin shifting their metabolism. They go away from sugar burning, which creates more free radicals, and move towards fat oxidation. Fat oxidation and butyrate, which is a cleaner fuel source that's used by healthy gut microbes. This shift enhances tight junctions, protecting the cell from leaky gut. So those tight junctions are the things that hold gut cells together and keep a tight barrier from what's in your gut into your blood. It improves mitochondrial function, resilience to oxidative stress, and even stem cell repair deep in the gut lining. Number three, they influence your gut microbiome. So lower glucose in the gut equals fewer sugar fermenting bacteria. Now, sugar fermenting bacteria are usually the inflammatory kind. Instead, you start favoring bacteria that thrive on fiber, resistant starch, and mucin, which is protective of the lining of your gut. These microbes produce butyrate, which is that short-chain fatty acid that feeds the cells of the colon, strengthens your immune response, and feeds back to propagate more of the non-inflammatory microbes. This causes lower inflammation system-wide, and it can even influence serotonin and mood. GLP-1 and GIP don't just work on your pancreas, they reshape your whole microbial ecosystem. They change how your body handles fat and bile. GIP enhances fat absorption and may shift bile acid metabolism, increasing production of things called secondary bile acids. And these activate messengers and receptors in our system that influence things like cholesterol control, vascular health, and insulin sensitivity. They may even stimulate further GLP-1 secretion. They can reduce overall gut inflammation, modulate metabolism in the liver, and brown fat. So this creates a feedback loop that tightens metabolic control from the gut to brain. Next, they calm your immune system. They calm it by supporting beneficial microbes and reducing toxic byproducts from sugar fermenting microbes. GLP-1 and GIP help decrease intestinal permeability, or something that can be called leaky gut. Now, unfortunately, even in the best of circumstances, GLP-1 and GIP secretion naturally declines with age. Several studies have shown that older adults secrete less GLP-1 and GIP in response to meals compared to younger individuals. This may be due to a reduced number of functional enteroendocrine cells, meaning the cells that produce GLP-1 and GIP. Could also be because of impaired nutrient sensing in the intestinal wall. Diminished neural signaling from the vagus nerve can also reduce production of those hormones. What can also happen is that we get a loss of GLP-1 and GIP sensitivity as we get older. Now that can show up in the form of the receptors themselves not being as sensitive. So even if our body is making enough of those GLP-1 and GIP hormones, the receptors are not responding to them. Or we could be making enough hormones, but they're not adequately formed or well-formed hormones. The quality of those hormones themselves may reduce, making them less effective overall. This means even if the hormones are present, their ability to lower blood sugar, slow gastric emptying, reduce appetite, or reduce food chatter may be lower in older individuals. And then if we compound that with lifestyle changes that happen as we get older, the impact or production of GLP-1 is even worse. And then there's polypharmacy. There are multiple medications that adversely affect how our body and our microbiota can continue that cycle of GLP-1 and GIP production. The good news is that this decline is not irreversible. There are things that we can do to restore incretin sensitivity and secretion. Resistance exercise or aerobic activity, high fiber diets, Mediterranean diets, diets that have the right amounts of healthy fats, intermittent fasting, and the use of prebiotics and postbiotics, meaning butyrate and tributylin. So in summary, GLP-1 and GIP hormones don't just help manage the increase in blood glucose after you eat. Depending on your choice of fuel sources, they help create a positive feedback loop that improves your gut health and gives you better fuel utilization each time you eat. You're changing how your gut cells breathe and repair, what microbes live inside your gut, and how your immune system reacts to food and stress. It's a full body recalibration that starts at the microscopic level. I hope this summary gave you a better understanding of how these incretin hormones, GLP-1 and GIP, influence your gut health. I hope it gives you some insight as to why these medications may be so beneficial when we use them on top of what our body can do. If you enjoyed this video, hit like, and if you want to hear more from me, hit subscribe. I'll see you next time.